Each video in this new series will be between 10 and 20 minutes long, with well-researched, in-depth analysis. If you want to get to know a character, learn about their interests, goals, or desires, their butt is probably not going to give you that information. It won't tell you much about who they are or what they're thinking or feeling at any given time.
In May of 2012, a feminist decided she was going to use her special ability of having an opinion to tell a bunch of gamers that they were sexist pigs. You know, kind of like what feminists do to everyone. Apart from she was going to do it to gamers.
In this particular project, which I'm calling Tropes vs. Women in Video Games, I'm going to create a series of 5 videos that look at and deconstruct the most common and the most stereotypical representations of women in games.
Anita Sarkeesian raised about $500,000 for Feminist Frequency while making this Tropes vs. Women in Video Games series. With this, she hoped to prove that she was a responsible woman, an executive director no less, with 2 whole employees.
I founded and run my own nonprofit organization called Feminist Frequency. In my role as executive director, I manage 2 full-time staff members.
Sure, Anita, let me just let you in a little secret here. Calling yourself an executive director when a typical McDonald's has many more employees than you makes you seem, well, kind of like a delusional self-aggrandizing bitch. Especially as Sony Macintosh was ever listed as an employee. And now, curiously, this is all we see. So what are you now, Anita? A executive director of a company which I swear to God has employees? Sure it does. It's just I'm such a great executive director that they've not written their bios yet. But she wanted to make feminism accessible.
And the goal was to make feminist theory more accessible to women and girls. For the purposes of this video, I tried to get a glimpse of Batman's rear end, but it's as if his cape is a high-tech piece of Wayne Industries equipment designed to cover up his butt at all costs.
Yeah, also known as a cape, Anita. But thanks for making your ideas accessible to women and girls in your feminist theory video entitled Strategic Butt Coverings. Truly a masterpiece of feminist theory. It's gotta be accessible because Anita thinks that feminism was trapped in universities.
I started Feminist Frequency because I felt like feminism was sort of trapped in academic spaces.
We could maybe talk more about these, but here are some solutions, or possible solutions. On media, 1. On media, television interviews, on platforms and political meetings, at any presentations. If there's no woman speaker, then the event does not take place. The interview is foregone, the political meeting is cancelled. One cannot get around the rule by using a woman as an MC. That's merely window dressing. Also, women get to speak first. In classroom discussions, in question periods, and at public events. Men should not be allowed to monopolize these forums.
What are all of, there's so many things, right? We could like brainstorm a million ways that we could create these structural changes. And creating structural change means people have to follow those structures.
I think that I'm doing this right now in my classrooms, in the management department. Women get to speak first. I think that that is a primary issue that we actually have to look at, how we do question and answers, and we can start today. Thank you.
And it's got to be accessible because feminists use too many pretentious words to make it sound like they're not just pulling it out of their asses.
I started Feminist Frequency because I felt like feminism was sort of trapped in academic spaces and politically radical spaces. They talked about systems of oppression and privilege, but it was in this language that was really hard to understand, and I wanted to create a space where feminism was easy to engage with in an accessible way. And why does sexism sell? Well, because it's not challenging dominant paradigms. It's simply reinforcing ideas about male privilege and entitlement to women's sexuality that are already entrenched in the cultural zeitgeist.
No! So with her $500,000 and 3 years past the due date, and with her recent blog post saying how terribly brave she was, and how she didn't know how she found the strength to get out of bed every morning, because people who couldn't disagree with her on a video comment section or on her blog disagreed with her elsewhere. Yes, the stress and trauma were almost too much for Anita. That now, with a project over 3 years late, she's redefining it and promising to have it finished within a year. So let's see how many of the original 5 videos that she said she was gonna make that she made.
I'm going to look at the damsel in distress, the fighting toy, the sexy sidekick, the sexy villainess, and the most common trope in video games, women as background decoration.
But that's okay, because she researched things so very thoroughly.
This is an incredibly ambitious project because of the scope and scale of the research and production involved. Whether or not that sequel ever gets made, we definitely need more games with warm, compassionate, multi-talented characters who have realistic and relatable concerns. Recruited by a resistance organization called the Iris Network, Jade uncovers a vast conspiracy between the invading aliens and the government. As you might imagine, this project requires an enormous amount of research.
As you can see here, the box now features a picture of a saluting soldier on it. From a distance, you can use this to trick enemies into thinking you're an ally, and they'll pass you by.
We must remember that games don't just entertain. Intentional or not, they always express a set of values, and present us with concepts of normalcy.
From a distance, you can use this to trick enemies into thinking you're an ally, and they'll pass you by.